Underdog is the leading place to make all your sports picks, and you can play now in your state. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog, and it's easy. All you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. You can choose strikeouts, total bases, or home runs, or go higher or lower on three-pointers or rebounds. You can play with as little as $1. If you get everything right, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. This week, I'm looking at baseball, and as usual, Aaron Judge is my choice to go higher on the stats that involve his hitting. Download the Underdog app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up with promo code GARAGE to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code GARAGE. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncp.gambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
The Knack Hardware and Lounge brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1552, May 28, 2025. 100 degrees on this day in 2018, and it was 36 degrees on the morning of this day in 1965.
Hail the Flashlight King.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your Flashlight King, Fireworks Commissioner, and the Keeper of Common Sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
Just moments before the show started, you, Reavers, apropos of nothing,
which is what I do,
said drones are going to be affecting air travel.
I was reading.
Where did this come up?
I can find the publication, but
I don't need you to. I just was curious.
Okay, can I finish the sentence or no? Are we good? Hey, I was reading something this morning about how I don't know if it's the FAA or whoever it is, the governing body, but just saying how drone traffic is going to severely impact flight travel in the near future.
Well, all I heard was the word drone, and it made me think of what happened to the outbreak of so-called unknown objects over New Jersey.
Oh, yeah, good question.
It just completely disappeared from the earth.
Trump took care of it.
I think it was wasn't it in November and December? Oh. Was it the post-Trump election?
Let me see.
I mean, it was post-Trump's election that suddenly these videos of what presumably might have been drones or else aliens.
In late 2024.
Yeah, it was in December.
Okay.
And it was every day there would be a new rash of these sightings.
YouTube's got mystery drone sightings continue in New Jersey.
But it's gone now.
I've heard nothing.
Nothing.
The last one was in January 30th.
The Trump administration, had an explanation for it in January.
What was that?
Is it Caroline Leavitt? What's her first name? The press secretary said, after research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of the drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
And that is why Trump got elected.
Thank you.
Okay, but then if it's your hobby, why have you stopped your hobby? It's gone. There aren't any.
Well, maybe you went to the Hobby Lobby.
Rook, regarding what's your outfit? Fun with us or vacation with us?
Escape with us vacations.
Escape with us.
Yeah.
You have the Dude Ranch trip coming up.
Yes.
And Tom Wilson wants to know, before I put down my hard-earned money for this trip, I need to know one thing. Is this bordello of which you speak a live working bordello?
Boy, I certainly hope so, huh? If that gets them to buy, sure.
And I want to give a little plug to our the Garage Logic pianist, Stephen C. Boy, if you want to impress your gal, tomorrow night, lovely night. Tomorrow, forecast is supposed to change. You walk arm in arm to the Commodore Hotel on Summit and
Cathedral Hill.
No, Summit and Western. Right? Yeah, Summit and Western. And he's going to have his whole gang there, including Pat Donahue. So it's 7 p.m., Summer on the Hill, tomorrow night. Let me verify that. Hope it's on Thursday, 7 p.m. That's tomorrow night at the Commodore, Summit and Western. If you haven't been to the Commodore, that's a fun
Dumb question.
old building.
Do you have to be a hotel guest?
No, of course not.
Well,
There's a bar in there.
79 Western.
That's right on Western. I had an aunt who got married there.
You did?
I remember that I was a little kid when I went to
What they serve?
I don't know, Chris. It was a long time ago, and I wouldn't have been focused on the food.
That's true.
I don't
Well,
care.
they're still doing that, Joe. Temporary closed for public dining. Outside of special events, the Commodore Bar and Restaurant is currently only available for private functions, and we'd love to host yours.
Well, there's one tomorrow night. It's not private. You can go to it. Summer on the Hill. Democrats are spending $20 million on a study examining how to speak to American men. This is all over the interwebs. After losing ground with the demographic during the last election cycle, this is according to the New York Times. Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan is a $20 million project crafted by Democrats to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. Spaces is foghornable. What the hell is it? What does that mean? In the unlikely event somebody would be in a space with a man, I guess. Known as SAM, Speaking with American Men. The study will specifically examine young male voters and how the party can connect with that demographic. Additionally, the study advised rolling out pro-Democrat ads on video games. The study's revelation was made in an overarching article detailing the uphill battle Democrats face after the 2024 election, which included Democrats scrambling to replace Biden as the nominee with just more than 100 days left in the election cycle, and ultimately delivering all 7 battleground states to Trump. The Democratic Party's tarnished image could not come at a more inopportune time, the article said. In this era of political polarization, the National Party's brand is more important and influential than ever, often driving the outcomes of even the most local of races. In response, Democrat operatives and donors have gathered at swank hotels.
There it is.
To craft plans on how to draw back the working class and male voters.
Because, you know, a working class and male voters, we all go to swank motels.
See, maybe that would be the first place you start. You just don't meet at a swank hotel.
Maybe this whole agenda they've had for the last 8 years of screaming at cis men as being the root of all evil might have been a mistake, huh?
Well, some of those red roof inns are pretty nice, though.
This should tell you one thing. This should corroborate one thing we've all learned in the University of Garage Logic. Anyone?
They're out of
Euphorians
touch.
can't link.
No, it has nothing to do with
They're out of
Shoot.
touch with the voting base, and they're so deep and entrenched in the third rail that they have no idea what's going on in this country.
You have the correct answer.
Wow, Kenny, you're
Now-
back on his game.
Oh.
Presumably at some point in their life, for example, who are our local reps? You got Amy. And
Aaron Murphy,
Well, Aaron Murphy's a state rep. I'm talking about feds.
Tina Smith is retiring.
Jeep girl.
But at some point in their lives, they were in touch with everyone. I mean, they had to go to stores and they had to
Well, they're busy fighting for us, though.
buy gas and they had to take the kid to school and talk to the teacher.
I would
and-
even say leading the charge would be Amy Klobuchar.
Who
Who was brought up with the meat and potatoes.
Sure, she was. Yeah.
Was she? You really think she was, Matthew?
I think her dad and mom probably had her on pretty steady ground in her grade school,
dad
high school.
was an angry Democrat who hated Republicans and anything conservative.
which is drifting from the point. At one point, anyone elected to Congress or the Senate had a reasonably.
I disagree. I think, Joe, maybe that might have been the case for older politicians that are now should be leaving public service. But the younger politicians, they're all activists, Joe. They have no concept what's going on out here.
Well, yeah, when you're right, you're right. I'll change my direction. The point I was trying to make is the third rail. Well, I'll get to that in a moment. The third rail is so encompassing and so insulated from having to go to the hardware store or get gas or pay the bills or the kids need shoes. I got to go talk to the kid's teacher. The life they lead, and this is our fault. The American voter has allowed this. The American voter has turned over politics to a political activist class, particularly with the Democrats, but it's true of both parties. But that third rail is so pronounced and exists in its own entity so thoroughly that they don't even, it doesn't even occur to them how foolish they look to announce that they're spending $20 million to learn how to speak to men. It doesn't even occur to them that they appear to be complete morons. It's them. It's them essentially saying, it's them saying everything we're saying. We've completely lost touch. We have no bleeping idea what you morons do on a Saturday afternoon, other than apparently you drink beer and start lawnmowers or something. That's what we hear. I'm unclear about that. And so we're going to spend $20 bleeping million on consultants to go to swank hotels. Swank.
Yeah. Those mini bars aren't free.
And learn. What are you going to learn? You can't learn because you miss the point entirely.
Yeah.
You're not capable of this because you've become an American living a life that Americans don't live. That goes for you, Amy, and Tina, and everyone who represents us. That life is so comforting to them, so powerful, so influential that they can't bear the thought of losing it, which is why Trump has these obsequious altar boys who follow him around, acolytes,
right.
Which is why the Democrats are so out of it that AOC is the face now of the National Democratic Party.
Good.
A woman who's never been married, never had a job, never had kids, never punched a time clock.
She was a waitress.
She was a bartender. Okay. Yeah. She's a moron, and she would need to be attending these classes at the Swank Hotel. But now getting back to Kenny's point, if the preponderance of incoming let's just switch to Minnesota. The incoming preponderance of Democratic legislators in Minnesota are undeniably coming from the professional activist class, either with a transgender issue on their mind or a Marxist issue on their mind, whatever it is. They are not representative of the man on the street. They are dyed-in-the-wool professional activists. They, too, would not know how to speak to men, the women part. Because they don't want to speak to men. Men are patriarchal for the most part. A lot of men are white. They shouldn't exist. The country was flawed at its founding. The founding fathers were white. They made too many mistakes. This country isn't fair, and we're going to upend it. And now you want to talk to a guy cutting his grass. They can't. They can't.
No.
And what's hysterical, especially to me, is guys like Tim Walz, who thinks he's a code talker to middle-aged guys. Didn't he call himself a code talker?
Yes, he did.
That's so awesome.
I can talk to the guys.
You're an idiot, Tim.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
I can talk to the guys about fixing their truck and football.
No, you can't.
You're a cockwomble. Look it up.
And a rifle.
As he's loading the shotgun upside down.
Right.
I thought he was let off the hook for that.
Oh.
I'm
sorry.
He was just examining it or something.
Yeah, it was a semi-automatic.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you load it. It's not.
The other part I would like to know is, where are they getting the millions? I got to think it's not from us.
No.
Do they just steal their own national campaign money?
I would assume, it's from their own coffers. Wouldn't it be?
It tells you everything you need to know. And if they're going to spend $20 million to learn how to speak to men, are they going to draw a distinction on how to speak to black men? I wonder, because a lot of these phonies, they slip into a black dialect when they're talking to black crowds. Like Hillary's the most famous for it. And plus she keeps the hot sauce.
She's got the hot sauce right there.
Yeah. And Harris did that a lot. Kamala, if she was speaking to a black audience,
she's gonna.
She just was pathetic. Trump doesn't bother. He just speaks as Trump.
He speaks Trump.
Although it would be fun to hear him try.
You know, of all the faults Trump has, and my God, they're a long list, it would never occur to him that he needed to go to a class to learn how to speak to people. He probably speaks to more regular people. Now, granted, they're working for him and they're working on the golf course or they're cleaning tables or something, but he speaks to more people than anyone on the third rail.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
You'd be in jail. Thank you.
That's how you talk to Americans, right there.
That of all his sins, that's not one of them. He'll speak to anybody. He doesn't give a bleep about adjusting his syntax. He'll just say what he wants to say. And these timid morons are going to go to swank hotels. Who's going to teach him? Who's in the business of this? What a gig. We thought food fraud was a good paying gig. This is who are they hiring? Help me. Everybody read the story quickly.
They stay at these swank hotels.
I don't
I'm just
understand
thinking of, the male and female spa days. You can get a man petty, Matthew.
Yeah. I'll tell you all about it.
Scalp massage.
Oh, the thing feels better.
They're going to figure out how to win in North Carolina by hanging out at a swank New York hotel. That's what it says in the story. I wish I could find where the money is. Democratic donors treating men like an endangered species on a remote island they need to study probably won't rebuild trust. MSNBC contributor Rotimi Adeoye posted to X. This kind of top-down anthropological approach misses the point. People don't want to be decoded. They want to be understood and met where they are. Well, of course they do.
As far as the money goes, Joe, I looked up Democratic National Committee.
Yeah.
They raised in 2024 $2 billion.
Good Lord.
And they had, at the end of the year, they had $99 million on hand, cash on hand.
Well, that's where the money's coming from then, obviously.
Exactly.
It tells you everything you need to know. I can't find out who they're hiring. I don't know what, you go to the Acme Consulting Services. We specialize in speaking to men.
I'm just thinking of the scene from Airplane. I speak jive.
I speak jive.
Hey.
I'm on the Fox story, and towards the end of it, they start talking about that ad. Remember where they had like 5 guys who came out on screen and admitted that they were manly enough to vote for Harris?
I do remember that.
And I eat carburetors for breakfast, and I drink WD-40 for dinner, shit like that.
Oh, it's truly amazing. It's truly amazing. It does tell you everything you need to know about the third rail. They have put up, once they get there, they go through a portal. And they're completely different people.
Transformed.
They're just completely different people.
Should you have to, and this would go for both parties, should you have to research the voters? Shouldn't knowing what the voters want be so obvious that you don't have to spend one dime researching it, right?
Great point, but not if you're on that insulated third rail where all you're worried about is yourself. You have no I love it when these... like Klobuchar comes back to town and pretends to stand around at a farm. They have, it's just amazing.
With their boots that still have the price tag on them.
They're so out of touch. They're just out of...
And they're out of time.
You know who was not out of touch? The late Jim Ramstead. Remember Rammer?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Rammer was wonderful.
Good guy. I think he could talk to people,
Yep.
Walls, you cannot talk to people. You
That
think
kind
you
of
can.
politician is almost gone, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, it really is.
Because now everybody's just out for themselves.
Well, and look at Rammer's staff. Lance, the great late Lance Olson.
Oh, he was
who was
great.
always in touch, always knew.
That arrow might be gone.
Yeah, I think so.
Who's left? John Marty. He's not on that side.
You
but,
keep going back to the state. That's a federal conversation.
Well, I'm just talking about
federal conversation.
Career politicians.
Yeah. Marty, he's been there, 50 years?
Yeah, he was walking in the room the other night
What room?
where the Democrats and Republicans were going to go and fight it out.
Oh, at the state?
Yeah, at this Capitol.
Yeah, still
Yeah.
haven't solved it.
That's the budget. Let's get to that in a moment. I've been telling you about your lawyer guy is Bradshaw and Bryant. You get in a car accident, things can be a real hassle. You need somebody to sort through it. Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys, are the best. They explain your rights. They represent you. They help you through a tough time. The consultation is free of charge. They're well known in the business for 6 consecutive years. Mike has been recognized as a super lawyer, Mike Bryant, and has been named Minnesota's top 40 personal injury lawyers by Minnesota Law and Politics. They hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, call them. Call Bradshaw and Bryant at 800-770-7008. Insurance companies can be tough to deal with. Let them deal with it. Or you can go to minnesotapersonalinjury.com for that free case evaluation. Bradshaw and Bryant does not want you to be part of the problem. Don't text and drive or drive distracted. That's just common sense from your lawyer guys, Bradshaw and Bryant.
Reavers here once again for my guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Well, sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? Well, Mr. Money Talk is going to be able to sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute, no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser. Tennessee already.
Original 6, Joe.
It's the end of the world as we know it, but he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
I managed to use 2 of the 3 Seafoam products in my Garage Logic Seafoam emergency kit over the long weekend. Didn't need the deep creep penetrating oil. It's there if I need it, but the old GMC, she drank a can of that Seafoam motor treatment, and the Bugs Be Gone got a workout. Boy, that stuff is really amazing. Sprayed it on the windshield before I did the 21 questions game with the gas pump, and by the time the gas was pumping, those bugs I sprayed down were already sliding down the windshield, so the squeegee thing just washed them away with ease. Meanwhile, Mr. Dodge Ram at the next pump over, boy, he was scrubbing and cursing and scrubbing and getting nowhere. Since he was smarter than me, I just left him alone with his language and his mocking wife. Have a nice day, pal. Anyway, make sure, GLers, you don't go anywhere without the 3 essentials: the Seafoam motor treatment, the Seafoam deep creep penetrating oil, and, of course, Bugs Be Gone. 3 wonderful products from our own local company with a global reach. That being Seafoam.
You just reminded me of something with your Seafoam comments.
Oh, boy.
I don't approve of gas pumps that are also showing me a TV screen.
Oh, God, thank you. God.
Well, hit the mute button.
I hit mute immediately as soon
me
as
too.
I hear
Wait a
something.
minute, there's a mute button?
There's a mute button?
Where's the mute button?
It's usually the third one down on the right-hand side.
Oh.
And sometimes, like, because I'm a Quick Trip guy, I love Quick Trip. And Quick Trip has a thing that says mute with the arrow right there on the screen.
But you still see the picture, I bet.
Yeah, but you don't have to listen to the nonsense.
Why didn't you tell us about this years ago?
Yeah, it's usually the third one down on the right-hand side.
First thing I do.
I'm not a rewards member. I don't want a car wash. I don't want to sign up for whatever you're trying to sell me.
Would you like a receipt?
I don't want to round my change up.
Let me tell you Democrats something. Let me tell you Democrats something. Give you a little help, and it won't even cost $20 million. Getting gas is a traditional way the American male has a little break for himself. You get the gas. You might walk around the car to see if it's got any new dents, and you might use Bugs Be Gone while you're walking around the car. Let that do its job, and then you lean against the car, and you look around. Maybe there's some nice cars in the lot coming in, and you might even say, "How you doing?" Guy driving a +65 Mustang or something, and that's it. It's a little break from life. And now I come in. Mm-hmm. And this TV screen is blaring at me.
With Maria Morinaro.
Leave me alone. I don't want to have a TV. This is my time. This is my time. My time, Democrats.
What if they're telling you how to live your life right, and this special drink is going to...
No, I don't want any of that. Just leave me alone. I'm pumping the gas.
So, wait a minute. So this is an invention made solely by Democrats?
No, I'm teaching the Democrats that they want to learn how to talk to men.
Oh, okay.
The men don't want to be bothered. For example, Democrats, they don't want to be bothered by TV screens on gas pumps. That's just not good.
You're giving them a freebie.
I'm giving that to them for free. Let me finish my thought on this need by the Democrats to pay $20 million to some scam artists who've got them convinced they can teach them how to speak to men. I think the underlying current that drives this, I'm going to go way out on a limb here.
Okay.
To the point of mockery. But
I'm ready.
All right. But
again?
Yes. The underlying current of thought that's driving this and has resulted in the lot of Democrats being unable to talk to men is the slow but thorough process of feminizing America. The feminization of America, the feminization of males has resulted in the necessity for a $20 million expenditure to remind us how we're supposed to talk to men.
Yeah.
The feminization of America is behind this. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Toxic males. We're the worst.
Males
if you own a
toxic.
pair of jumper cables, you are the worst kind of male there is.
Don't you think, though, this is a bit of an overreaction by the Democratic Party? I mean, if you had nominated, say, Mark Kelly, wouldn't there have been perhaps a different outcome as far as male voting
that's
goes?
possible, sure.
There's got to be people in the party that can do it, John.
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
has to be.
There has to be. One or two. We have blown through the May 19th constitutional deadline to approve the budget. That was last week. I'm talking about the state of Minnesota. Then we blew through another self-imposed deadline a few days later. Then there was no hope to reach an agreement on the Tuesday after Memorial Day, which was yesterday. That didn't happen. And Lisa Demuth said yesterday that we have worked all through the last few days trying to agree on a budget settlement. They have not. Her DFL counterpart is Melissa Hortman. I'm always hopeful. Yeah, we're hoping to wrap things up this week. Okay. Meanwhile, the optimism of legislative leaders did not extend to working groups trying to reach agreement on a tax bill. Tempers flared in the tax working group when Senator Ann Rest, DFL New Hope, well, I think she's been there about 100 years, grew frustrated with House members who she said weren't even willing to vote on a proposal they made. The Senate is accepting your offer, she told House members on the committee. One would think the House would vote for your own offer. When at least a couple of House members voted no, Rest declared the motion had failed and abruptly recessed the meeting. I saw this on the news last night when she got those no votes about we're not even going to vote for our offer to the Senate. She basically said, go bleep yourself, and turned off her microphone.
Drop the mic.
Yeah.
She is a retired certified public accountant.
Let it be known to our leaders that the House cannot even accept their own proposal. Now we will take a recess. Legislative leaders have told the working groups they have until today to reach agreements, or they will take over and make decisions for them. Why don't, if I'm not mistaken, the hang-up is the Democrats intending to provide medical coverage for any and all illegals in the state, which sounds terribly virtuous, but might be cost prohibitive, especially if people start coming to Minnesota once they get wind of that. Now, they would maintain medical coverage for children, but what they would like to see is you have to do a little work to continue to get the coverage.
She came to the Capitol and did in 1985, Joe.
Well, that's 40 years ago.
Yep.
But where's the person to step up and say, we can't afford this stuff now?
Well, the Republicans are trying to say that, and the Democrats are balking, and they don't want to have a budget bill that does not provide what they want. Let's see, which is this one? I have two versions of this. The legislators were in those working groups yesterday. One of the biggest obstacles is the DFL divide over free health insurance for adult undocumented immigrants. Protesters took over the hall outside the governor's office, furious that he and the DFL Senate Majority Leader backed a compromise that would take the health insurance benefit away from undocumented adults but leave it in place for children. So protesters, some of whom I have to believe were undocumented, they're in the Capitol bitching at the Minnesota taxpayer for not providing them free health care.
We want ours.
The governor is saying he will stand strong, but will he, if he goes back on his promise on immigrants, what else is he going to go back on? Said Erica Zurwowski, who protested. If no agreement is reached by Sunday, layoff notices will start going out to state employees. The final deadline is June 30. That's Saturday.
Okay.
If there is no agreement by then, the state will enter a shutdown, the first since 2011. During the 20-day 2011 shutdown, thousands of non-essential state workers were furloughed. And while public safety employees, including the State Patrol, kept working, state parks were all shut down. So there you have it. The Democrats offered a compromise in the House. The Senate accepted it, but the Democrats will not send it on to the Senate because they're now rejecting their own proposal. And this used to be one hell of a state.
It's a fine how do you do.
Just used to be one hell of a state. And it continues to sink under the sea due to Cockwomble and the others. It's just a dreadful, dreadful situation. Oh, a positive note.
Okay.
We nailed defeating our future suspect who was trying to fly out to flee the country.
Going to Dubai, is that right?
Yeah, she was Hebo Dar. Hebo. She's now the 71st person charged in the $250 million scam.
Oh, I thought Hebo was a guy.
Hebo's a gal, I think.
Gotcha, okay.
Why did it take so long for her to see the writing on the wall?
I don't know. Well,
because they just raided the place. We talked about it. Remember, they raided the place last week, and that's where she was basically implicated.
Yeah.
Maybe you were gone. You might have been gone.
I don't know.
The FBI arrested Hebo Dar at MSP before she could board her flight to Dubai. I believe it's a female. I'm looking at a picture of her. Court records show that Dar claimed to serve 1 million meals to kids while operating out of an office in a business center on East Hennepin Avenue. She collected $2.4 million.
Well, she was doing the Lord's work,
Absolutely.
Joe.
Just going to make a quick trip over to Dubai for
And
the weekend.
her business was called Northside Wellness, and it was completely fake. And according to the criminal complaint, Dar's case included all the telltale signs of the sprawling fraud.
Wow.
She wrote checks to Hadith Ahmed, a Feeding Our Future employee who's already pled guilty, and says checks like those were bribes. No, you were expecting those checks. There are emails Dar sent to Amy Bach. In those meal counts, in fact, there are emails Dar sent to Amy Bach, a former executive director of Feeding Our Future, convicted by a jury this year, including meal count sheets the FBI says are fake. In those meal counts, the complaint says that by April of 2021, Dar claimed to be serving about 40,000 meals to children every week.
Wow. She's a hell of a baker.
Amy was convicted. Bach was convicted. It was unclear whether the feds intended to charge any additional suspects, but late last week, this is the one we told you about yesterday, the newest fraud, the FBI raided a St. Paul nonprofit called New Vision Foundation. As news of that raid spread, prosecutors say Dar booked a flight to Dubai. That must have been the last straw for Dar.
Yeah. Hey, you better book
they
that
got
flight.
they got to New Vision. I'm out of here.
See, she would have got away with it had she road tripped, to a different airport,
Right.
got out of the state.
Right. Fly to St. Cloud.
Right.
They got her just before she got bored.
Yeah.
Boy, I bet she was
that's high drama.
I bet she was disappointed.
Oh, I bet
Don't
she
you wish you were there to witness that?
I haven't been briefed on it, so I can't speak to it. But, yeah.
Do you think, was the door closed? Did she have her shoes off? Did she already have the movie
I think
playing?
they nailed her right before she entered the plane.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's a plane tapper. I wonder if she gives the plane a little tap when she goes in.
What's a plane tapper?
You tap the
I'm
side
a
of it.
patter. I give the fuselage a little tap.
Just a little-
as
Like I'm on your side, kind of a good luck type of
How
thing?
you doing there, big guy?
Let's make sure we get there. Huh? In court, prosecutors say they informed Dar in April that she was one of the new targets of their investigation. Honey, why did you sit around here so long?
I would have been gone.
They told the judge they believe she tried to flee the country, thinking charges were coming soon. Well, she didn't. Of course, her lawyer said she was only traveling to visit her sick mother.
I mean, with $2.1 million.
Hebo Dar is now in the Sherburne County Jail, pending a detention hearing set for the day after tomorrow. The hits just keep coming, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Don't they? Huh?
It's just like the band. The band kept on playing, baby.
What?
Huh? I don't know. Just trying to be helpful.
Have you seen the weather forecast for the weekend?
Boy, have I.
We're going into the 80s, and we appear to be staying into the 80s for quite some time. I hope you're ready to enjoy the weather with whatever you're going to get at EcoFun, the electric bike capital of the world, but also motorcycles, scooters, youth recreational equipment, water equipment, 4x4s, side-by-sides, helmets, apparel, service, you name it. Most fun store you'll ever be in is EcoFun. It's in Forest Lake / Columbus. It's on Highway 97, immediately west of 35. You can't miss it. And down in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life near County Road 42. Tim might have a few generators left, too. Remember, they took generators on this winter, Yamaha generators. And every everything in the store is pre-tariff. He loaded up. He's got Scootstar electric bikes. You take it out in the parking lot, you get everything adjusted. It's a bing, bang, boom. You take it home, you're ready to ride. It's the electric bike capital of the world. EcoFun in Forest Lake / Columbus, Highway 97, immediately west of 35, and down in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life, EcoFunMotorsports.com.
Mike Schoonover is here today because Positive Thursday will not be seen in its normal time this week. So instead, Positive Wednesday is brought to us by Schoonover Body Works and Auto Care, Shoreview, 1060 County Road E, Happy Positive Wednesday, Mike. How are you?
I'm good, Kenny. Good to be here with you, buddy.
So it's occurred to me this morning watching traffic, and we're back to pre-COVID levels now, where we're just seeing ridiculous jams all over the metro between 7:30 and 8:30. And it got me thinking about insurance companies. And correct me if I'm wrong or if my thinking is off. Wasn't it COVID, that time right around COVID, when insurance companies pulled all of their on-site adjusters and went solely to pictures? Do I have that right?
Well, you do in a way, but they were moving that direction. They had already closed claims offices around, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and other cities around the country.
Okay. All right.
So they were pulling back, and adjusters were starting to work from home. But then COVID came, and obviously they had to work from home. Well, what a great excuse to pull everybody off the street and then start this whole, you people, get into an accident. Here's our app. Take your own pictures and send them up, and then we're gonna, we'll write an estimate based on the photos that you take in the dark, in the rain, on a cloudy day.
Yeah, with a bunch of stuff laying on top of your car. So that pretty much answers the next question, which was going to be, so are these adjusters going back to work now that we have so many wrecks and, everything's pre-COVID again? So obviously they're not going back to work, and that will not change.
No, I think they're cutting back. And Kenny, it's funny you asked that question because we were just talking about it here earlier this morning, that we have not seen insurance companies as a whole, the whole insurance industry for automotive, repair, as bad as it's been. This is the worst it's been since COVID, and they're just getting worse. And the whole thing of delay, deny, and all those other terms that they throw around is actual and factual. So, I can only tell GLers that if you haven't shopped around for insurance in a long time, and I know rates are high, but if you haven't shopped around for insurance in a long time, I would suggest you do so, because insurance companies don't care if you've been insured with them for a year or 10 years or 50 years.
Yeah.
And they don't care that you haven't filed a claim in 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
They're still going to charge you, and they're not going to take care of you. So shop around and do whatever. And then the other thing too is, Kenny, their profits, the insurance industry's profits, are sky high, and I don't understand. It's kind of like the government. I don't understand how they can continue to raise rates when their profits are so high. So I don't understand it, but we'll just keep helping GLers, navigate through those ugly waters.
It's just so amazing to me that insurance is mandatory. So they just screw us from every angle they possibly can.
Hey, but keeping it positive, Kenny, we'll help them through it.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about Schoonover Body Works is when you're involved in a wreck, you guys handle all of the insurance stuff. You don't have to talk to your adjuster at all. Correct?
That's correct. We have to have included emails now. We include our customer in on the emails so that they know what's going on, and it makes the adjuster wise up a little bit, because they have a customer sitting there on the other end of that email. So we'll just keep doing what we do, and hopefully things will change. But one thing's for sure, traffic is still going to be bad, and people are still going to get into wrecks.
Yep, and the other thing that's for sure is we really need Schoonover Body Works and Auto Care. They are the official body shop of Garage Logic. You've been at it since 1938, always rated as one of the top shops in the metro. The best in the biz, if you ask us. SchoonoverBodyWorks.com. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Kenny.
Yep.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Here's John Heidt in his newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. This news brought to you by North American Banking Company. This morning, law enforcement leaders say they will introduce a new
coordinated effort to improve conditions along University Avenue. The new effort also aims to improve the safety of riders on the Metro Green Line. According to Metro Transit, law enforcement service providers, as well as both city and county prosecutors, are working together in what they're calling a first-of-its-kind collaboration, which they are calling the Safe and Strong University Avenue.
There it is. Put a name on it.
Among those who spoke were Ramsey County Attorney John Choi, Metro Transit Police Department Interim Chief Joe Dotseth, as well as Ramsey County Public Health Director and the Ramsey County Deputy County Manager of Safety and Justice Service Team. Whew, that's a long title.
Say that again. What are we calling University Avenue? Safe and what?
Safe and Strong University Avenue is what the project
Joe,
is.
do you like that, or do you like the Boulevard of Broken Dreams?
I like the Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Yeah.
Saturday,
you in the back.
I made mention that I took my sons to the Twins game Saturday afternoon.
Wonderful.
We were thinking about maybe even going to the Timberwolves game. She was a little out of Dad's price range.
Told us all this yesterday.
My point is, I'm gonna follow up with what John just said. We walked around the 5th and Hennepin area to kind of check things out.
Yeah.
I watched 2 different light rail trains go by. I could have counted everybody on both of those trains with 2 hands. There was nobody on either of them. This is a bustling Saturday afternoon in downtown in which 2 sports teams had home games, and nobody was on that damn light rail.
Who were the 2 teams? Oh, the Twins
and the Wolves were both playing at home within hours of each other.
I thought for a minute you were referring to the Frost.
No, that's in St. Paul.
But they
You
have a
have
party
made
tonight.
it your life's mission to scream and yell about downtown Minneapolis.
No,
haven't you,
Kenny,
Chris?
I know you listened to the Weekly Scramble podcast yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I said downtown is back.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
It was hopping, man, on Saturday. It was fun. The boys had a great
the
time.
Timberwolves are in the playoffs.
Kenny, you probably heard that when you listened to the GL replay, too. He said that on GLs.
Yeah.
You probably heard it twice.
He's been saying some nice things about downtown.
Hey, and here's the thing, Ken. I love downtown. I don't want it to be an S-hole. I really don't.
Okay.
Chief
I apologize.
I'm not offended.
Back to the
Still
story
love ya.
here. Chief Dotseth says everyone who travels and works on our system deserves and will have an experience that is consistently safe, clean, and welcoming. This is non-negotiable. Chief Dotseth said Metro Transit Police have increased active policing with officer-initiated crimes, now representing half of the crimes reported for the first quarter of 2025. That's a 55% increase in proactive policing from last year. Dotseth also said...
At the foghorn, if you were listening. Proactive.
Dotseth also says serious crimes are low and says more than 40% of riders perceive the system as safer than 6 months ago, thanks in part to police having a larger presence in the area. This will continue under the new collaboration with Metro Transit Police, according to St. Paul Police, and also the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office will be taking part, all performing high-visibility, coordinated law enforcement ops. While law enforcement will be more visible, service providers will also be active along the corridor for social outreach, guiding people to resources including addiction treatment and housing services.
Who's Dotseth, the new...
He's the interim Metro Transit.
Because we lost that other guy under circumstances that we don't know.
He was let go and nobody can talk about it because of all the rules.
Right.
So.
I don't know if crime is down. I can't verify that, but I can verify that from the Mall of America to the airport, there is a rather large police and security presence on board the light rail.
Good.
They're everywhere.
Brooklyn Park's public works director has resigned in the wake of a grand jury indictment connected to an alleged sexual assault in an Atlanta hotel room last September. Fulton County, Georgia prosecutors will now proceed with the case against the public works director from Brooklyn Park, Daniel Ruiz. He faces charges of rape, aggravated sodomy, false imprisonment, and battery. Ruiz has been on paid leave ever since the arrest. He'll remain on the city's payroll until his resignation takes effect on June 27th.
It's amazing. This character has been getting paid.
Yeah, 10 months, is that? 8 months, something like that. Ruiz was arrested September 8 in connection with a suspected sexual assault at the Club Wyndham Atlanta Hotel. A warrant alleges the victim tried to escape the hotel room, but Ruiz forced her back inside and continued the assault. The victim was treated for injured ribs after the attack. Ruiz was released on $80,000 bond September 17th. Credit card receipts show Ruiz and another public official were in Atlanta for the American Public Works Association's annual PWX conference conference, which ran from September 8th through the 11th.
And the New Hope taxpayers had to pay for that scam, too. They paid for him to go to that.
The conference, sure.
The victim, do we know anything about the victim?
I personally do
not. I'm just wondering, is she also an employee of the city, or is she from down there?
That we don't know.
We don't have any info.
Yeah, they purposely don't tell us that in these cases.
A federal judge has granted the United States motion to dismiss its consent decree against the city of Minneapolis. That happened yesterday. In the filing, the court says the court has grave misgivings about the proposed consent decree serving the public interest. The document says the decree is oh God, I knew I was going to try. I had to. You know how many times I practiced this word? Superfluous.
Superfluous.
Yeah, thank you. That's what Joe said. Yeah. Due to the city and the Minneapolis Police Department entering into an agreement with the Department of Human Rights, a consent decree is part of a settlement outlining sweeping reforms to the police department. Mayor Jacob Fry and Police Chief Brian O'Hara said the city is still committed, though, to police reform, and said despite the federal government's motion to dismiss the decree, they will continue on with it. Fry said they will implement every reform in the 169-page consent decree. Minneapolis is making great progress, he said, on police reform, and we don't need permission from Washington or a federal judge to keep pushing forward. Lawyers for Senator Nicole Mitchell are asking the court to dismiss one of the charges against her. In February of this year, you'll remember, prosecutors added a felony count of possession of burglary or theft tools. Mitchell pleaded not guilty in August to a different charge.
These ain't mine.
A different charge pending first-degree burglary charge.
Ain't my crowbar.
Right.
New court filings yesterday asked the judge to dismiss the added charge. The lawyers saying the two charges are intertwined, meaning it's hard to envision a scenario where Nicole can be guilty of possessing burglary tools but not of committing burglary.
Well, you got to have tools to get the job done.
Yeah.
In other words, we would all be guilty of owning burglary tools.
Yeah. Lawyers said it creates more problems than it solves to charge her with both. In March, Mitchell spoke publicly at a Senate subcommittee on ethical conduct meeting regarding two ethics complaints against her. One is an amended complaint that was initially filed last May. The other is a new one filed in February. They were the first public remarks from Mitchell in ethics committee proceedings on the Senate floor or in hearings in her criminal case since her arrest last year.
I see two problems with her.
What do you got?
Well, three, actually. One, this has dragged out too long. Two, she should never have been able to hold her Senate seat.
Exactly.
And three...
The fact that she got to vote on it.
Well, three, she might be... What's a delicate way to say it?
The no-go zone?
No. Well, that's a given. Addled.
Oh.
Look up addled.
All right.
See what addled means. I don't want to be...
Addled.
No, A-D. How do you spell it? A-D-L-E-D.
Unable to think clearly or confused.
Addled.
An addled egg means it's rotten. That's a different meaning.
I'm not calling her a rotten egg. I'm saying I think she's addled.
Addled.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about the burglary tools, though, and that being dropped?
That's okay. I don't care.
I would normally not care, but in this case, I do. I'm making an exception for Nicole, and I really do care.
Yeah,
but with
because-
most other people,
No, it's a good point because with her, they were specifically burglary tools.
Right.
With me, I needed to jack up a trailer or something.
Right. We could go into town now, and every single pickup in town would have burglary tools.
Right. You know, now that I'm looking at the dictionary.com definition, I believe you have referred to me and Rookie as addled.
I probably have.
Unable to think clearly.
Right.
And confused.
That's accurate.
You both are very addled.
A business note from St. Paul. After more than a century in business, West 7th Pharmacy is closing next month. Rising costs and trouble finding help led to the decision. Owner Jeff Johnson says having open heart surgery late last year also played a factor in the closing. Johnson said it does change your life. It makes you think there's more than just going to work every day. West 7th Pharmacy opened in 1915.
Where is it? I don't even know where that is.
Right on West 7th Street
West 7th.
between Highland Park and downtown St. Paul.
Was it independent?
Yes.
Oh.
It's just like looks like a regular drugstore.
I guess I can't picture it.
It's big.
Those have gone the way of dogs not on leashes. You know what I mean? The country has really changed. You can't find an independent pharmacy.
No, they're all the big boys.
You got one hell of a good one at St. Paul Corner Drug. Johnny Hesh, an old farm boy that's a pharmacist, does a great job.
Well, if I was still down there, I'd use him. I hate today's pharmacies. Just hate them.
And you got TVs on gas pumps.
One of the most important stores in Mandan, North Dakota growing up, Taylor Drug Store.
Where did Hubert Humphrey arise from?
He was a
the
pharmacist.
family's drugstore.
Yeah. Why don't we take a quick break here and we'll reminisce some more. But first, let's hear from Chris Reavers.
Let's ease our troubles with a visit to our friends at Harmony Spirits down in Harmony, Minnesota. I got a text from Larry. Hang on, let me pull it up here. Joe says I can only look at my phone when we're doing an ad. Bottle and Bond is back. Here's the deal about Bottle and Bond. They only harvest 2 barrels a year, and we bottled the second barrel last week, and it is available at our tasting room for tasting and for purchase, Joe. You can also see a bottle of this stuff on their Facebook page. They do a really, really good job of updating all the craft cocktails on their Facebook page. So check them out, Harmony Spirits on Facebook. But the Bottle and Bond is a single barrel bourbon whiskey, and it is fan-freaking-tastic. They also have a really cool thing at the tasting room in Harmony, Minnesota. They have those pre-mixed cocktails that you can take in a sealed bottle to go. So if you're maybe on the bike or whatever and want to support Harmony but can't really taste while you're en route, then do that, because the tasting room is wide open right now, man. Summer is here, and Harmony Spirits wants you to come on down and taste all the best handcrafted cocktails made right here in our own backyard. And also, one thing that you can do is you can go into your local liquor store and ask for the Harmony brand by name if they don't have it on their shelf. That really is how they're going to continue to expand their brand and continue to thrive. And they thank all of you GLers that have supported the Harmony Spirits brand by name throughout the years and continue to do so. HarmonySpirits.net is their website. And please step into the tasting room, say hi to Damon and Larry and the entire crew, and let them know that you heard about Harmony Spirits right here on the Garage Logic podcast.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Do what we do. If you want the best lawn on the block, you've got to go with our team, ProfessionalTurf.com. They've been kicking around the Twin Cities since 1982. If you've already gone with the company that we at GL use, you already know what an amazing job they do. You also know that scheduling that free in-person lawn care analysis and estimate at ProfessionalTurf.com is the best thing you will ever do for your lawn. Whether you're a first-time homeowner just facing the puzzle, or if you've been trying to do it yourself for years and years, ProTurf will make your lawn the envy of the neighbors. You don't even have to think about a thing. All you do is water and mow, and they show up 3-4 times a year and make sure your lawn is always tip-top and perfect. We're talking exceptional lawn care, landscape, and irrigation service with ProTurf. Check them out, ProfessionalTurf.com.
May I say something, and I don't care that it's being heard. I want the powers to be to maybe hear this. Wouldn't it behoove ProTurf, as long as we're going to put the names of our wonderful benefactors up on the TV screen, wouldn't it be cooler if ProTurf showed us some of the stuff they've done? You know, beautiful patios or trimmed hedges or whatever, you know, rather than just their name. Same with all the clients, I would think.
Okay.
EcoFund. Do we put anything up for EcoFund?
We do, but you're doing the ad, so you probably can't see it.
I don't. Is it just their name?
No.
Is it show somebody riding a bike? Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Say the Mink just weighed in before we get back to Johnny. The Mink weighed in on the consultants hired to teach Democrats how to speak to men. He might have a good point here. Let me just bring it up on the old email. That's right here. One or more of the Democrat politicians involved in the meetings to learn to talk to men have relatives in the psychology, demographics, activism industry. The relatives called and say, hey, here's an idea. I can teach you people some stuff about how to talk to men. It's about $20 million today only. Clueless politicians agree and keep the money flowing around the American Democratic circle of hell. The Mink.
Believable.
Yeah. It is very believable.
I could hold up pictures of my lawn if you need something for ProTurf. It looks lovely.
Yeah, just something, decorative.
So why don't we get back to news now?
I can send in a picture of the patio they built on my old house.
That's my point. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A slideshow. In national and international headlines, President Trump accusing President Putin of Russia of playing with fire yesterday, one day after the president said he was considering placing additional sanctions on Russia for its bombardment of civilian targets in Ukrainian cities. President Trump saying what Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened in Russia, and I mean really bad. He's playing with fire. Trump's statement immediately prompted a response from Dmitry Medvedev, the deputy chairman of the Kremlin Security Council, who appeared to be warning the president about escalating tensions. He said, "I only know of one really bad thing, WW3. Medvedev said in his own social media post, "I hope Trump understands this." The exchange came after Russia launched the largest onslaught against Ukrainian cities in the last 3 years, bombing mostly civilian targets like residential areas in Kyiv.
Well, once again, it's a break glass, smoke lucky situation. I'd like to get a little advanced warning. If a nuke hit New York City, we'd all die anyway. Our buildings wouldn't go away, but the radiation would get us.
Right.
So. Can somebody give me a week or two heads up on that?
A week or two.
Positive Wednesday today, Joe.
Huh?
It's supposed to be Positive Wednesday today.
Oh.
You're talking about nuclear
end of the world.
Oblivion. Yeah.
Well, that's what would happen. You know.
He's trying to put a positive spin on it.
I saw that on a TV and a gas pump.
I'm so glad to hear that this bugs you as much as it bugs me.
It's just infuriating.
Makes me so mad.
My favorite part is when it happens when it's about 58 below zero and it asks you to hit 9 different things. No, I just want to pump gas and go sit back in my car.
I have pay inside privileges, which is why I tolerate this one station that has the TVs on.
Now, what do you do? You drive to Chicago frequently.
Yeah.
What do you do in that
I
case?
got to be like a regular person.
Oh,
I got to go and give them the money and say I'm on pump 3.
Like a peasant?
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah. I'm not using plastic, you communist.
Wow. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention no longer recommending the COVID-19 vaccine for pregnant women and healthy children. U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announcing on a video yesterday on his X account. The announcement reverses previous CDC advice. At the time of the announcement, the CDC's webpage still contained its earlier recommendation that everyone ages 6 months and older get vaccinated, and that getting the COVID-19 vaccine, it said, is especially important if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or trying to get pregnant. Public health experts immediately pushing back against the announcement. Dr. Stephen Fleischman, president of the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, said despite the change in recommendations from HHS, the science has not changed. Dr. Tina Tan, president of the Infectious Diseases Society of America, added in a statement that COVID-19 can increase the risk of preterm labor and birth, hypertension, and kidney damage for pregnant women. And here in Minnesota, Michael Osterholm, director of the University of Minnesota Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy, said there's no new data or information. It's just them flying by the seat of their pants. SpaceX carried out the 9th test flight of its massive Starship space vehicle last night, achieving mixed results as the spacecraft successfully reached orbital velocity but disintegrated upon re-entry. After launching from Starbase, Texas, the uncrewed ship experienced several issues, including a fuel tank leak, cutting short planned exercises for the mission. Mission controllers lost contact shortly before an uncontrolled spinning descent into the Indian Ocean. This marks the 3rd straight test where Starship failed to complete the entire flight. Following the launch, CEO Elon Musk, having returned, in his words, 24/7 to his companies from his work with the Trump administration, pointed out the vehicle exceeded a number of checkpoints from Flight 7 and 8 and vowed to accelerate the launch schedule to once every 3 to 4 weeks. Starship is currently slated to carry astronauts to the moon by 2027 as part of NASA's Artemis program. A crowd was fired upon while overrunning a new aid distribution site in the Gaza Strip set up by an Israeli and U.S.-backed foundation. At least one person was killed, 48 others wounded. A crowd of Palestinians broke through fences around the distribution site where thousands had gathered. An Associated Press journalist heard Israeli tank and gunfire and saw a military helicopter firing flares. It wasn't clear immediately whether Israeli forces, private contractors, or others had been the ones who opened fire. The foundation said its military contractors had not fired on the crowd, but fell back before resuming operations. After more than 50 years, Southwest Airlines' bags fly free policy is finally coming to an end.
Ooh.
Southwest on Tuesday announcing the first checked bag will now cost you $35, the second checked bag $45. That policy began this morning when some passengers could be subject to a checked bag fee also when booking a flight on the discount carrier. Weight and size limits for bags will apply. The new policy only applies to flights booked on May 28th or later, which means today. Yesterday, was the last day to book if you wanted to avoid the new fee.
Which is always fun at Terminal 2. If you have a little extra time and you come a little early, Frontier is right next to Southwest. And when Southwest had the free bags and the Frontier people, passengers, realized they had to pay. Oh, they don't have to pay. They don't have to pay over there. It was tension like you wouldn't believe.
I hate flying. They've made it too messy.
Those are always the favorite social media clips that I see when someone's got their Spirit airline flight that they paid $58 for and realize
they get in fights.
They got to pay $50 to check their luggage. Like, oh, I ain't paying that.
Yeah, they are very upset.
Speaking of flying, in Florida, Sanford Airport police arrested a woman outside an airport gate after they say she repeatedly hit a child on a plane. The arrest report says it all started when the child called Christy Crampton fat and Miss Piggy. Crampton was on board Allegiant Flight 2885 from Orlando Sanford International Airport to Hagerstown, Maryland on Memorial Day. According to what witnesses told police, the child told Crampton she couldn't fit in her airplane seat. Witnesses say Crampton began hitting the child with her fist and then hit the child with a water bottle.
Where was the parent of the child to hit back?
The parent, as you'll see as we continue with the story, they don't have much to say about the parents, which I found odd also. The report says the child used his arms to cover his head. Airport officials haven't said how old the child is. However, Crampton told police the child was, quote, very rude and disrespectful during their trip. After the child called her fat, Crampton told police she took his phone away. She claims he pushed her arm off the armrest twice, and that's when she began smacking him, according to the police report. According to the report, police said she went beyond typical disciplinary actions. One witness said the woman was not correcting the child, she was abusing him. The report says the family declined to give statements to the police. So is this her child? That's the question I had when I read it.
Well, if the kid's 15, I don't blame the fat lady for...
I think the big girl deserves an award. It's about time somebody pushed back against these little brats.
Well, if the kid was 4...
doesn't matter.
No, you don't get to hit him.
Smack him right in the face.
The kid's 15 or 16, just slug him.
What about 12?
But don't you think this was 12, her kid when you hear about the story?
The fat lady's kid?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay.
No,
really?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, then I don't know why the parents didn't. I mean, she took the kid's phone away. If you were the parents of the kid, wouldn't you go, excuse me?
Yeah, well, the reporting isn't what it used to be, John. We don't even know about the parents.
You put us in a position of having to cheer for one side or the other, and I'm going to cheer for the big girl.
Mm-hmm. He probably had to buy 2 seats.
I also don't think that's the first time Kenny's ever said that.
Crampton is charged with felony child abuse. She appeared in front of a Seminole County judge who granted her $10,000 bond. The judge ordered she have no contact with the child. The report says the FBI was notified about the incident.
Maybe it was
she
her
also
kid.
went on to say that this was worth it, and I'd do it again, and I plan on doing it again.
And this isn't. I don't think we needed a study here. A first-of-its-kind study reveals that people who experience the most distress and impairment in daily functioning from social media use are more likely to believe fake news.
Hello, Reavers, are you listening?
I'm not listening to anything you guys are going to say.
I was going to do that, but I didn't want to be mean.
Well, I don't care if I am.
I think he's on Twitter right now.
Yeah,
he did just post.
Dar Meshi, an associate professor at Michigan State University and co-author of the study, said social media is everywhere in our daily lives, and some people display problematic excessive use of the platforms. We found that this overuse is associated with a greater tendency to believe in and engage with misinformation. By assessing participants' credibility judgment of news posts, participants' intentions to click, comment, like, and share posts, and their degree of social media use. The study found the greater people's symptoms of problematic social media use, the more likely they were to believe fake news is true, interact with news posts regardless if they were real or fake, and want to click on fake news posts.
On some of those social media posts, I see a helpful note that follows the post that says, this story has been debunked, or this
AI,
or
Doge.
I find those helpful. Otherwise, I'm prepared to, of course, believe everything I see. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Say Precision Door MN's your garage door guy. They take care of everything that can go wrong in a garage door. The springs, the rollers, the rails. They take care of it all. They show up on time. They tell you when they're arriving. Precision Door serves western Wisconsin and the entire metro area. They don't charge more for emergency visits on weekends. And in addition to just taking care of your existing door, they have new doors. They have models for every budget. They send out a designer. That's consultation is free. You don't need to bring the garage to them. And think of what a new door would do. It's insulated, great security, improve the aesthetics. It's wonderful. Excuse me. That's air that's leaking through my garage door. Get a hold of Precision Door. You can do it online. Precision Door MN. That's one word, precisiondoormn.com. Or call 612-263-6985. And you, too, can schedule your free on-site new door estimate. And remember, if you get a new door now, Precision Door is throwing in the motor. That's a value of more than $760.
This guy wears many hats, just not indoors. Joe Souchere.
Let's talk about our friends at North American Banking Company, shall we? Okay, I'm glad you asked. They have 6 Twin Cities locations to serve you. The home of yours truly is either Roseville or 50th in France, depending on where I got to make the late payment. Depends which one I want to go to. But you can also see them in Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks. It doesn't matter whether you're looking to buy a home, maybe finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been dreaming about. My friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out, and right now is a great time to put your home's equity to work. So if you've got that home project or maybe a project up at the cabin, a home equity line of credit from North American Banking Company is going to give you flexible access to funds when you need them most. And their experts make it easy. So check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. Again, they also offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but the key difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. North American Banking Company member FDIC is an equal housing lender. Joe?
There's a course being taught at the University of Minnesota. This is a story written by the College Fix, and Alpha News picked it up. And apparently it's real. The University of Minnesota regularly offers a course called Intersectional and Decolonizing Approaches to Transgender Health as part of several graduate degree programs. It's an online 3-credit course, is part of the Transgender and Gender Diverse Health Certificate Program and the Masters of Professional Studies in Sexual Health. According to the university website, the course uses an intersectional approach and examines systemic marginalization of gender diverse populations. The course also addresses the historical pathologization of diverse gender and sexual identities within healthcare. Students are encouraged to critically assess biases and Western assumptions related to gender identity, sexual orientation, sex assigned at birth, and gender expression. Professor Nick Ryder, it's NIC, has taught the course. The academic did not respond to an emailed request for for comment nor a voicemail left in the past month by the College Fix. The Fix asked Ryder for a copy of the syllabus, what decolonizing healthcare means, and if the class examines current debates about the safety and efficacy of transgender drugs and surgeries. The Fix also reached out to fellow instructor Tammy, T-A-Y-M-Y, Queso for comment, but the professor did not respond. Ryder, of course, uses they, them.
Yeah.
And has an interest in intersectionality. I don't even know what that means. Improving various health disparities, sexual health and pleasure, decolonizing, healing, justice.
What?
Well, she made this up and got herself a gig. Kenny has challenged me to link this to the Democrats' inability to talk to men. I think it's quite apparent that the failed academy in its most weird wings, such as this, are no different than Democratic policymakers. They too exist on a rail that's completely independent of the rest of our lives. And whoever Nick Ryder is could no more survive a walk down the street and deal with real life than anyone in the Democratic Party, because this is a totally made up decolonizing approaches to transgender health. Why? B as in B, S as in S. It's just they have people at the U who thinks this description sounds like the result of a prank. How many leftist buzzwords can we fit into a single course description? That's the Do No Harm Director of Research, Ian Kingsbury. When asked what a course on transgender healthcare should cover, Kingsbury said it should earnestly grapple with ethical concerns surrounding the ability of minors to provide informed consent. He said it should also provide information relevant to clinical practice, including the risks associated with cross-sex hormones therapy and puberty blockers. And he said, I'd be shocked if this course meaningfully addressed topics like the Cass Review, detransitioners, or the appalling state of medical literature cited to justify pediatric gender medicine. He said that Cass Review is an official study undertaken by the National Health Service in the United Kingdom to look at the safety and efficacy of transgender drugs and surgeries. Anyway, there's no difference between the failed academy scam artists like this person who dreamed up this course and Democrats who need to pay $20 million to teach them how to speak.
Right.
Because no one understands what this knucklehead is saying.
But if you teach this course, or if you take this course, this online course, and do well at it, you obviously are going to need to attend that $20 million meeting, because you have no idea what's going on in the real world.
And how do you intend to find a job that would actually pay you?
Well, your next path in life is to teach that course.
Because
that's it.
Yeah. You're going to be hired by, name your corporation, and you're going to be teaching this nonsense.
Any job that I could suggest that you'll end up with would just be demeaning to that job.
What about a transgender shop?
I guess.
What do you buy there?
A little boutique, maybe. Well, anyway, good luck to him.
Hey, I got it. Nope, Ken, you nailed it.
What's
Rook.
that?
Transgender shop featuring wax hands.
I mean, you could do it. We got rainbow hands. We got the whole, you can do the
business is back.
I thought the business was mothballed.
It is right. Currently.
They need a cash call.
Currently, it's on hiatus.
They need
due to lack of employees.
They need an infusion of cash.
Yeah, they're going to go to their shareholders.
Don't look at me.
There's going to be a cash call coming up pretty quick here, cowboy.
Yeah, I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
The ROI wasn't what you expected?
No.
He didn't do his R&D.
I was a sucker.
You could have pulled a couple shifts.
Yeah. Say,
oh my God, could you imagine him working at the booth at the fair?
Because you need to be very patient.
What do you want?
Let's go here.
Hurry up.
Just stick it in there.
Put your thumb over
stick it in there. Let's go here.
Now, quit squirming.
Do you want sprinkles?
I've told you 100 times, but I got to
sprinkles?
tell it again because it would have been the greatest prank ever played by humanity. There's a guy at my parish who has a fake hand that apparently can come on and off. I don't know him, but I would have gone to him and introduced myself. He's in the choir. He's probably a hail fellow, well met. And I would have said, I just got a call from a friend of mine who bought a wax hand machine. You apparently dip your hand into this is it hot wax?
It's warm.
Warm wax, and it makes a mold, and then you pull your hand out. Well, you come with me, stick your hand in there, and figure out how to dislodge your hand and bring it out and just say, oh, my God, I lost my hand.
That would do a lot to
that would have been the greatest prank in the history of the world.
Is your friend's name Roy Munson by any chance?
No.
No, okay.
Well, hell, it might be. I don't know.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No.
Is this another thing where you guys are trying to get me? Who's Roy Munson?
He works for 3M.
He was a bowler, professional
bowler.
Lost his hand.
Poor
Really?
guy.
In a tragic accident.
Couldn't bowl anymore. He lost his ability. You don't know the story?
No.
Yeah.
Is this from
hard time paying rent?
God, he couldn't even make ends meet.
Is this from
Rent is due.
Huh?
Yeah.
Rent is
due, Roy.
Kenny, God.
What in the world? Is this from the Dude movie?
Kingpin.
Kingpin, the bowling one.
One of the best movies ever made, Joe.
And a hard time paying
I guess so. Only because they come to us all the way from the Traveling Lymans, currently in Eden Prairie, Minnesota.
Oh, well, welcome home.
It's this day.
Today is May 28th.
On this day,
May 28th.
In 1827, Dakota warriors shot into an Ojibwe camp outside Fort Snelling, killing several people. Ojibwe warriors made reprisal attacks over the next few days, killing 4 Dakota. Although a peace treaty had been negotiated in 1825, sporadic fighting between the two tribes continued. On this day,
May 28th,
in 1859, Roy Munson, huh?
Yeah.
Anticipating a lecture by Bayard Taylor, 300 passengers boarded the steamboat Equator at Afton for a trip up to the St. Croix River to Stillwater. However, 40-mile-per-hour winds forced water into the hatches and drowned the boilers, and Captain Asa Green and his crew were compelled to ground the ship near Hudson, unloading the passengers just before a wind gust ripped the cabin off the boat.
Ew.
The passengers missed Taylor's lecture, Life in the North.
You get to see a lecture.
He missed the lecture. On this day,
on May 28th,
in 1866. See, this gives you background about where we come from and how it all...
Who we are.
On this day,
on May 28th,
in 1866, the Twin Cities feated General William T. Sherman, who was on a tour of Army forts in Minnesota and the Dakotas as commander of the Division of the Mississippi. And on this day,
on May 28th,
in 1896, Minneapolis celebrated John H. Stevens Day. Stevens had built a house on the west side of the Mississippi River in 1849. And on this day, school children pulled the house to a location in Minnehaha Park.
Free labor.
Yeah, nice little child labor laws.
And now it's gone. I don't think it's there anymore.
Are you sure?
Is that the yellow one?
Yeah. Is it still there?
I think the yellow one's still there. I'm almost positive. Because when we went on our picnic last year,
the big yellow one is up on top, but then there's the first house in Minneapolis is down on the other side of the falls.
Can I ask you something?
Yep.
You, what do you mean when you went on your picnic?
We went on a picnic, and Mick and I, McLaren, Sophia, had a basket. Seriously.
Where'd you put the blanket down?
Over by, the pavilion is between the parking lot and the pavilion. It was a great day. You can get a beer from Sea Salt. Don't you ever picnic with Jennifer?
No. On this day,
the checkered blue and white basket out there.
On this day,
some
Great name
cheese
for a band, Picnic with Jennifer.
Yes.
On this day,
May 28th.
In 1903. Oh, this is terrible. St. Paul's first automobile fatality occurred when a child was struck on Selby Avenue between Dale and St. Albans Streets.
Sad.
It really must have been a small child because any car made in 1903 wouldn't have been going very fast.
Yeah.
And finally, on this day,
May 28th,
in 1936, a statue was dedicated in the Ramsey County Courthouse, sculpted by Swedish artist Carl Mills and later named Vision of Peace. The 60-ton, 36-foot-tall revolving onyx artwork cost $75,000.
And was dragged by small school children up to the...
I do like how you offer up the fact that you picnic with the fam just so casually in hopes that you trust the staff that we're not going to rip the hell out of you.
Well, do you believe that? Because it happened. Charcuterie board, everything.
It seemed to me that you were picnicking in an area where people walk back and forth.
There's a lot of grass.
Picnic tables.
You should do it more often.
Did you have a table?
No, just a blanket.
On this day in Minnesota sports history,
nice to recline.
The Millerette. We had the Millerettes yesterday losing to the Peaches.
Yep.
Well, on this day they beat the Peaches 7-6 at Nicollet Park. I don't know why that would be a disappointment.
When they won, sure.
On this day,
on May 28th,
in 1974, Gordie Howe was named MVP over Mike Walton. This would have been in the World Hockey Association. I don't know why that's a disappointment, but here we go with a disappointment. On this day,
on May 28th,
in 2021, the Wild were eliminated by Vegas in Game 7 of the playoffs.
That was a disappointment, yeah.
So there you have it.
And on this day, we don't do birthdays, but if
But
we
you
did,
do.
we would tell Matthew a happy golden birthday, but we don't do birthdays. So
aren't you supposed to get something special on your golden birthday?
Haley has given him 28 days of gifts.
Oh, boy.
Boy, I almost jumped in there.
Yeah.
Careful.
They haven't been married very long, have they?
to
just
be
a couple
28
years.
again.
Almost a couple years.
Boy, I can't imagine what that gift would be.
Yeah, every day.
28 days,
every
a
day.
different gift?
I had to write a letter to him. All family members had to write a letter. She was very organized.
For us, Joe, what would it? It'd be 28 days of silence. Don't even say one damn word to them.
I would be thinking, I'm 28. I'm just saying.
Hey,
if I'm 28,
You 28 pennies right
I'd
here.
want something more than a letter,
Well, I think she, some are good, some are worse.
Yeah, it's all up to the individual, isn't it, Matt?
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, GLers.
Thank you, GLers.
Ciao.
And please do us a favor if you haven't done so already and subscribe to the Garage Logic YouTube channel. That's right. Garage Logic has a YouTube channel, and you can watch the show each and every single day starting right around noon. And you can also see full segments, video shorts, behind the scenes footage, but it's all there for you on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. And you can follow us along on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and X. Just search for Garage Logic and sign up for that daily logician. That email comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. And if you haven't upgraded that town council membership yet to be eligible to become the GLer of the Week, well, do so right now. You can find out more and accomplish that task online at the website, which is, of course, garagelogic.com. Time once again to check in with our guy, Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold is with us once again here in Garage Logic, and now is the time for you to do the same. So do not delay. Do exactly what I did and pick up that phone and dial 952-925-5608. That number once again is 952-925-5608. When you call that number, you're going to get Josh, and he is there for you for that free, yes, I use the word free, 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation education, and he will always give you the straight talk. He will never give you the sugar-coated advice, and he is on the line with us once again here in Garage Logic. And boy, Josh, a lot to get to today because you've got big earnings report tonight. The big earnings report comes out tonight, The Fed also has something going on today, an upgrade with Apple, and you've got news on Dick's Sporting Goods?
Dick's Sports. We'll start with Dick's Sports. Prices on the upside with a beat on the top line, beat on the bottom line. They affirmed their guidance for the year despite any tariff situation. That, to me, is biggie, particularly for a retailer to report such or give some very good guidance, particularly right now with everything that has been going on. It is very, very exciting for shareholders of Dick's. Dick's is down 28% year to date from the high, but today's report gave a nice boost to Dick's Sports. I don't know whether you've been in, Chris, to any of the new Dick's format stores, but very interesting and do give you an opportunity to try out any of the gear, whether it's golf gear, softball gear, baseball gear, probably even hockey gear. Dick's has almost everything. And to think this little company started as a bait and tackle shop in Pennsylvania. It has now grown to some mega stores throughout the country and a very well-run operator. But like all retail, tough sledding ahead with the direction of the economy, concerns about interest rates, concerns about tariffs and rising costs. Now that the big, beautiful bill has moved from the House to the Senate, there are numerous Republicans who want some significant changes in the bill to cut spending. But that's something we can talk about later. The Fed releases minutes today, just after lunch. Do be prepared for a little volatility following that news, as the Fed likely indicates that any cuts in interest rates will be data dependent. Market may not like that, and the data dependency got to be looked at given the amount of potential inflation from the increase in tariffs. The benefit to inflation right now is the price of oil has come down significantly, currently trading around $61 a barrel. Should oil go closer to $50 a barrel, that will have a negative impact, not that it hasn't had a negative impact already, on oil companies' stock prices. So just a word of caution about investing in energy stocks at this particular time. They tend to move with the price of the commodity, and the price of the commodity right now is down and not up. The other instance with the Fed is that inflation still remains sticky as a good part of the CPI. As we have discussed previously, about 35% of the CPI is housing, and housing prices really have not come down. I'll say housing prices. Mortgage equivalent rents have not necessarily come down. Demand for housing is still very strong, and interest rates are still up. So something to bear in mind. And the other cause for inflation being sticky, just take a look at your insurance bill for property and casualty. Certainly mine has not gone down. I guess yours has not gone down either. Another component of the CPI. Favorite Apple finally caught a little bit of an upgrade today on the potential for a slimmer iPhone that could be released this fall as part of the i17 lineup. Analysts have indicated that the new slim phone could represent a third of Apple's iPhone sales, and that phone will probably be given a higher price point, and Apple could as well up the prices of the i17 phones, which could generate some more revenues. Apple, by the way, has not really raised prices for their phones in excess of 5 years. Just something to pay attention to. So plenty of interesting developments today in a more downward-facing market after a big move yesterday on the delay of the European tariffs for another month. This tariff situation has provided tremendous amount of uncertainty, not only in the market, but also amongst business executives. So my asset allocation model still remains keep up to 30% in cash, balance invested in faster growing or growing companies in industries that are going to benefit from some of the leading technology, as well as keep some money available, I like it, in leisure. People are still spending in that arena.
Excellent advice. As always, Mr. Money Talk. You heard him, GLers. Now is the time for you to pick up the phone and make the call for that free 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And you do that just like I did by dialing 952-925-5608, where you always get straight talk and never, ever sugar-coated advice. Josh, once again, thank you so much for the time and the chat. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Look forward to it, Chris. Thank you.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid